In the previous episode I assembled and painted the cockpit, glued the fuselage and the wings, pre-shaded and painted the model. And now, let's continue this build. In the following sequences, I will concentrate on the propeller. After priming, I was painting it with Vallejo metal color aluminum and then adding a thick layer of Vallejo chipping medium. After that, the final, black color was added. The propeller tips are to be yellow, so first we mask it, then paint it with Hadaka camouflage barley grey, and after the paint is dried we put the final layer of Hadaka traffic yellow. The next action is chipping. I'm using an old brush to moisturize and activate the chipping layer, then a toothpick to scratch the surface and make chipping happen. Then I paint the last details of the propeller, varnish it with gloss finish and then apply the decals. The propeller is done. Not covered here is the protective layer of varnish Tamiya X22 that I have sprayed onto the whole model in order for the decals and panel line to be applied. To set and fix the decals, I use the suite from Ammo by MIG, Ultra Decal Set and Fix. The decals provided in the box are a little bit thick, so I used more Ultra Decal Fix to soften them. The F decal for the vertical stabilizer has to be applied part over the rudder, and that's why I have to cut it accordingly. The base of the positioning lamps was painted with green stuff world chrome metal. Other details that required my attention were the tail wheel and hook. Then I painted the shock struts with white. The last detail that I brush painted was the engine exhaust pipes with gunmetal color. After all the elements were painted, I applied another Tamiya X22 mostly over the decals to protect them, then I started the panel lining process. The choice for this was Tamiya Panel Liner Light Grey. I covered all the panel lines and joints with the enamel wash. After the wash was dried, with a little help from me and my hairdryer, I cleaned up the excess with a tissue moistened into white spirit or any type of enamel thinner. This operation is a little time-consuming, but the result is worth my while. The cleaning was finished with some cotton swabs, especially on hard-to-reach parts. After a night in the fruit dryer at 50 degrees Celsius, it was time for a layer of matte varnish in preparation for the rest of the weathering to be applied. No model is complete without some chipping. Those types of plane in the Pacific War took a lot of beating and no time for cosmetic maintenance in the operational theaters. Then it was time for oils. I started with the smoke from Aptiling 502 on the machine gun barrels and on the engine exhaust. The same color was applied to the empty cartridge ejection holes. Then, with a dry cut tongue type of brush, I started to blend in the recently applied oil color. Engine grease color was applied to the fuel refill cap and to other access panels. The blending was done using the same technique as previous, with the brush very slightly moistened with white spirit, as needed. Then it was time for filtering, with snow white and dust from the same Aptiling 502. The blending was done with the brush moving in the same direction as the airflow. More chipping to the nose of the plane, as I saw in the reference photos. This was done with a lightly soaked sponge in Vallejo metal color aluminum. I didn't forget the extra fuel tanks also, so they have to be chipped. After the final coats of matte varnish, this time from Hadaka, it was time to remove the mast from the canopy front and end. The masking wasn't perfect, there was room for improvement. The propeller was glued in place next. After that, the mobile part of the canopy was glued. For both I used CA glue, it's affecting painted parts the least, barely visible. Then, for the last detail, I had some fun with the wire of the antenna. That was the episode. Enjoy the finished model. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And also, please subscribe and hit that bell button in order to be announced when I release the next videos. See you next time.